Well, hello and welcome to the Champagne region of France. We're at a place called Pegasus Lakes, a place I've been to quite a few times before. And yeah, this is my first France trip of the year. It's August, it's really hot. I'm just taking you into camp now. It's a bit of a mess, we only got here yesterday. Needs a bit of a tidy, you know what it's like. It was 32 degrees when we were setting this camp up. Oh God, lost about half a stone, but probably needed to. So there we go, there is the lake. So this is going to be a 2-week trip for me. So week 1 is going to be here at Pegasus, and then week 2 we're going to a lake I've never even heard of. Could be a really good gamble or could be a really bad gamble. We'd say a bit of an adventure, that one. But for now, we're at Pegasus. Been here before, I think I've been here 4 or 5 times. I've known Pete and Simone quite a few years now, so I'm with my wife, so my wife travels with me for my August trips. It's nice and hot, so you can sunbathe in. They're actually having a ladies' afternoon at the lodge, so God knows what state they're going to be in when they get back. But anyway, so that's the situation. Yeah, like fishing here. It's just a really nice place to fish. Big open swims, get loads of water. And yeah, last year I had one of the gems out of here. I had a 48-pound common, absolutely immaculate. So yeah, it would be really nice to get amongst a few this week. It's a full lake. There's I think there's one empty swim, but numbers of anglers wise, because there's some people doubled up, so it's a full lake. So I think that's quite good. You know, sometimes, oh yeah, there's only me on. Fish can push into a corner and you can get nowhere near them for a week. So the fact that there's a bit of pressure all over the lake, I think it's a really good thing. And yeah. But for now, I'm going to go to the lodge and have a cool beer because it is scorching hot. So I'll catch up with you later. Josh, I'm charged! I'm charged! Pete, you're the face of the lake. You're the face of the lake.
I got a body like me watching a face like Crime Watch.
Correct. First morning of the week. I ain't actually seen a lot in my swim. I've seen a load in 5 and 6. I was beginning to think I was going to have to wait for them to move across to this side of the lake. Them boys opposite me had one this morning. I think they had 2 actually, which is kind of right, which is where the fish were. Well, last year I didn't get a bite at this time. By 9 o'clock everything was done and dusted for the day, but as you can see there's a bit of a chop on the lake this morning. And yeah, the left-hander has rattled off. Get myself a landing net. Come on, Vin. Get yourself together. He's only a small one, but it's a bite. We're off the mark. Bingo. We are off the mark. Oh, now he's going crazy. Now he's going crazy. Okay, so first fish for me of the trip. One of the smaller ones out of this lake. There is 1 or 2 in here this size. It's an up and coming lake, but there's plenty a lot bigger than this, so we'll take it. It's a bite. The spot's obviously got fish in it and they're liking the bait, so it's something to work on. And throughout the course of the week, hopefully we'll be getting 1 or 2 more of these on that left-hand rod, which is actually my longest rod. I'm guessing at about 110, 115 yards, something like that. But yeah, we'll get this little fella popped back and get the rod back out. Okay, so get life jacket on and let's have a bit of an investigation on the left hand side of this swim. Okay. So this rod is not going to be really far out, so for a bit of a change I'm going to try and set this rod up as a casting and spodding rod. So slightly different to the way I'm fishing the other ones, but the process of finding the spot is going to be exactly the same because it's too deep to actually see the spots. It's about 3 meters at the moment, this lake, so yeah. We're going to go out and we've got one of the prodding sticks there, which for me is an absolute must when you're fishing a lake like this, in my opinion, of course, but I think you learn so much about the area that you're fishing. So as that's going down, so it's going down, no problem, no problem, no problem. Then I'm getting a little bit of resistance. That is weed. So there's about 2 foot of weed there. So that actually feels all right. You would think that's a spot. It ain't. There's 2 foot of weed there and it's very delicate. You can only just feel it. Again, that's the same. You might just be able to hear it resonating through the pole. Yeah, the weed there. That's weed. It's getting thicker now, the weed. So we're in a big thick weed bed here right now. So we just come off that weed bed. Now, there was a little tiny little hole in that weed there. That's too small for what we're looking for. You'll get these clear areas and they're rock hard gravel. Still in weed. You know, if it takes me half an hour, making sure that I know I'm presenting on an area that I really feel I'm gonna get a bite off, it's worth every bit of it. So I've reversed the boat a little bit to take us a bit further from the swim. Now this is quite shallow here, and when we get these shallow areas, you'll notice I've got markers on my pole, so I kind of know where I'm going. Right, we're getting shallower here, we're on a bar here. Right, there you go. Oh, that was a big gravel area. Right, okay, you get the idea now. I've come onto a gravel, it's shallower, we're going to come off the back of it, but there's still weed there. See, you would think that's mega, it ain't. It's still got a layer of weed on it, which tells me the fish ain't cleaned it off, so it's not where we want to be. But we're certainly on a plateau here because we're a lot shallower. A lot shallower. Right, there's absolutely no weed there. Absolutely no weed there. So on top of that bar, so there's a bar down here, rock hard gravel. As we come off it, goes slightly deeper and we get that little area of mush. You can probably hear me just going through the mush there with the pole. That is the spot what I like to find when I'm fishing these pits. So everybody finds that rock hard gravel and thinks, bang on, we've got a spot we can present on there. And yes, you can, but there ain't no food on it. I know you're putting food on it, but it's not an area where a fish would look like that. It's rock hard, it's like concrete. There's no food on it. But if we just go past it a little bit. Now what I normally like to do is when I've put these markers out there, that's just on a bit of mono, that, so if the fish goes through it, it'll pull through the float and separate. So a fish can't trail that, it's impossible for that to happen. So I'm just going to push off the spot. What I normally like to do is put the marker around about a rod length off the area that I actually want to fish. So that's coming back off the gravel, there you go, and that is the spot. That's exactly where I want to put fish. So that, where that pole is now, I don't know if you can see that, so where that pole is now, that's about a rod length off the marker. So as long as I get the rig parallel to my swim from that little marker float, a rod length this way, we're pretty much in the kill zone. So, bait first, and this is DNA Bug, which is a bait that's doing really well on this lake, mixed with a little bit of the old crayfish pellets. I always do my bait first and then do the rig, because when you're doing the bait, sometimes the boat sways about, and I'm going to give them a bit on here. When it's nice and calm like this, it's nice and easy. When it's blowing an hooligan, this is a little bit more difficult. Basically, you can take as much line off your spool as you can. Don't know whether you can see them little lead hook link clingers. Put on that leader. Okay, so how I do it is I swing it out, make sure that that hook link hasn't tangled, follow it down, dumph, perfect. I know 100% that is not tangled, and that is right on that sweet spot, just where we come off the gravel and we go into that bit of sand. That rod is fishing. Oh, hello swan. Okay, so we're going to go back to base. That, just use your forefinger on your spool. Just steer with your left hand. Just tighten that up. I've done a bit of an arc. Okay, so once you go back to base, just tighten your line up and just drop your tip, get your words out, and you'll get a real nice tight line all the way back to base camp. And any indication should be pretty good. Back to base camp. Okay, so as you can see, there's a bit of a wind blowing across the lake, and in actual fact it's a godsend, because yesterday when we were setting up it was really hot. It was 30+ degrees and there was no movement in the air, and lost about half a stone setting camp up. But today there's a bit of a breeze, and normally when it's hot here, I've fished this lake quite a few times now. When it's hot in August, generally once you get past 9 o'clock in the morning, your bite time tends to stop. But for whatever reason, I didn't get anything through the night, which is normally banker, and this is my second bite of the morning. So yeah, we're having a little bit of an issue with the swans. That bear to my right, he's going to go, whoa, 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 he's going to go through my rods. Get off, get off, get off. That bear to the right seems to be a racetrack for swans. They chase each other around there and they come. And the first thing they hit is my right hand rod. And because I'm boating them out, I don't particularly want to have to redo them. Well, this one's plodding along. It's found a little bit of weed now, actually. So yeah, both the bites on this rod, I reckon it's about 120 yards, something like that. Straight out in the swim, lovely area. I'll talk to you later about the spots that I'm fishing as we go through the week. But yeah, it's a great start. Now this has weeded me up now, yeah. Officially, we are weeded up. We are in weed. Now sometimes these pull up and out. It depends. This year the weed's not nowhere near as what it was last year. And last year we got most of them through. Sometimes I had to go out in the boat. But this year, just looking at the lake, you can tell it's not as bad. But there is some... I was out there for a couple of hours yesterday with a prodding stick, finding my areas, and there were some proper nasty areas. And it would appear that this fish has found one. So, unless it pops out, which I don't think it's going to be fair, it's pretty solid, we will have to get the boat on the job. So I jumped into the boat. Obviously I got my landing net and that with me. I also have a sling, because if we get it, we'll pop him into the boat and zoom back to shore. Just got the boat in reverse, just gently winding down to the fish. Sometimes they can pop out, just getting this different angle on them, but depends what the weed's like that it's in, but we'll have a look when we get to the fish. Hopefully we can get him out. Problem is, when I do get him out, I might get blown into somebody else's swim, which we can use the motor to try and guide him where we want him to go. But yeah, the first fish was fine this morning, but this one's managed to find one of them big weed beds. But like I say, if you use your boat, normally you get a decent success rate with these. I do have quite a strong leader on, and later on in the film I'll talk to you about how I fish these type of lakes, because it doesn't look weedy. You can look around, you're not seeing any big clumps of weed, but on the bottom of this lake bed there's some savage weed that you just wouldn't pull fish through it. Okay, right, we are close to the fish now. Turn the motor off. Just get that different line angle. See if he'll pop out. Come on. He's pretty high. I can see the leader knot. Right, so he's come into the weed from this angle. So if I come, you see that fizz in there, maybe where it's starting to break the weed up. If I come this side of that weed bed, so this is the angle that the fish came in it from, I'm not pulling through the back of that weed bed. He is solid. He is proper in there. He is proper in there. Now the kind of final thing that we'll do, if he ain't gonna come out, is we'll have to pull him up by the leader, but that is like the final thing I do in these situations. It's like the last resort. Can get him up. Oh, hang on, he's out. Is he out? Yes, he's out. He is out. Excellent, right. So the trick is, once you get him up and out, is keep him up in the water. He's quite a powerful fish. Yeah, he is a powerful fish. I don't want to give him too much, but I don't want him in another weed bed. You always worry when they're in there for a while. I ain't seen him. Oh, he looks a decent one. He looks a decent one. Diving again. Get out that weed. Oh, he's not gone in it again, has he? Oh, he has, yeah, but I think it's moving. I just felt the weed on the line there, and I just got him up this side of it. Come on, mate. He's a strong fish. Last year we was here, we had a few that we had to go out in the boat to, and they're really powerful fish. As long as he's up there on the top, I'm kind of happy. That's the troublesome bit. No, he's not a big one. He's bigger than the first one though. Come on, mate. We're doing circles. There he is. Oh, he is bigger than the first one. Go on, mate. In you go. Yes. Go on, the boy. Oh, they are absolutely immaculate, these commons at Pegasus. Absolutely stunning fish. Okay, so fish number 2 from Pegasus Lake 1, a little over 35 pound. That's a bit more like it, isn't it? And yeah, this one, same rod, left-hand rod, my longest rod. And yeah, got me in a bit of a weed bed, did this one, but got the boat over the top of it, and without too much trouble, we managed to get him through. Yeah, mega start. First morning, we've had a couple of bites and a 35. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, there she goes, as the swans have a fight behind me. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a battle scar on him, this one. Maybe a spawning mark or an incident when he was a bit younger with a pike, who knows. But he can go back. Another immaculate Pegasus Lake 1 common. So last night did what last night threatened to do. Nothing. I think there's 30 rods in the pond. None of them got a bite. Everybody's quiet. And to be fair, we didn't really see a lot this morning. Normally they have a bit of a show. This morning I saw 1 or 2 in 4, a couple scattered in between 5 and 6, and just nothing. And it's strange because it was hot last year when we was here, and I mean, there were periods where I couldn't keep a rod in the water, but certainly not the case on this trip. But it's not like somebody's having it off and there's an area where we'd want to be. Nobody's doing anything, it's just slow. They're just not feeding at the moment. And unfortunately, coming out to France in August, it is a period of the year whereby this can happen. You know, I've had it a few times whereby you just think, I wouldn't know what to do to generate a bite. I've barely seen a fish in my swim since I've been here. Most of the fish I've seen have been past my water. So it's not like I wouldn't want to change my spots, because I spent a lot of time when I got here making sure that my spots are really good, nice and clean. And yeah, I think it's just wait for the storm that's going to come in later on tonight and throw out tomorrow. I'd like to think that when we get that massive pressure drop and a big weather front comes in, I'd like to think that the fishing improves. I would be amazed if it doesn't, but never say never when you're out here, because yeah, I've had weeks like this before and it just doesn't happen. But no, we'll see. I think the new weather front's going to give us a bit of fish movement, and yeah, I think 1 or 2 people will start getting bites. But this afternoon, we're going to go out into the town, we're going to go to the shops, we're going to go into the town, get something to eat, have a sit in Victory Square, which is always nice to do. It's a lovely place. And just get away from the swim, have a bit of a chill out, and then all my rigs are ready for when we get back, so I'm not messing around. Everything's tied up and ready to go. Fresh rigs, fresh baits. We're going to go out and do the spots and wait for the stormy weather to arrive. Okay, so while we're waiting for the rods to go, and they are going to go tonight, 100% definitely we're going to get a bite tonight. Thinking positive, thinking confident. Yeah. I'm just going to run you through camp and just go a few bits and bobs what I like to bring out into France when I'm doing these longer sessions. Just a few little bits and bobs that I find make life a lot easier for me. Okay, so if the lake permits it, I always bring my inflatable boat with me, because they just make life so much easier. You can learn a lot about the lake bed in a very short space of time. Obviously there's a life jacket there, 100% wear a life jacket. I always leave it on the front of the boat there, so I cannot forget it. You know, sometimes you get a bite and you get into the boat in a bit of a rush. Always wear your life jacket. A very, very important thing when fishing out here is one of these. This is the Trakker prodding stick. You can adjust it to whatever length you want it to be, and basically you can learn a massive amount of information about what you're fishing over, whether it's weed, whether it's silt, whether you're fishing on rock hard, gravel. You can really learn a lot about the lake bed in a short space of time. For me, that is an absolute must. For the time it would take you to lead around from the boat, that absolutely essential, you know. Absolutely couldn't live without one of those. The sticks there, nothing that you haven't seen before there. There's a houseboat. Over to this thing. This is actually the first time I've used this bivvy. This is the Tempest RS200, and inside that is the inner capsule. So Joanne and I are fishing together. Obviously there's 2 beds in there. I won't go in there because it's a bit of a mess, but absolutely brilliant piece of kit. Seconds to put up, and yeah, just does everything you want it to do. Obviously it's got the side vents all the way around, so earlier in the week when it was scorchy, that was a big help. And the inner capsule basically means that no ants or anything can come in into the bivvy. So yeah, brilliant piece of kit. First time I've used it, really happy with it. Don't look there, it's a bit of a mess. Weight tripod, haven't used it much this week unfortunately, but that's fishing. Yeah, so that's the deluxe weight tripod, is that one. And over to, hello Joanne. Oh. Over to this piece of kit, again, vents all the way around. This is the Gazebo XL, and this is what we use for cooking. I keep all my camera equipment in there as well, and obviously my cameras come in here on a night, so they're out their elements. Yeah, brilliant piece of kit. It's just nice to have somewhere where you can chill out during the day, get away from the sun. Like I say, we lift the vents up. We've got the vents running down because it was raining this morning. We haven't been bothered to put them back up, but yeah, amazing piece of kit. Landing nets. Obviously I've got a couple of landing nets set up, and this is the landing net that I put in the boat if I have to go out. Now you probably noticed that is not a Trakker handle, that is a really old cheap handle that I've sawn off, and the reason being I've got the Trakker 2-piece landing net there, and I just don't want to damage it, if I'm quite honest. It's absolutely gorgeous piece of kit. So when you're out on the boat, things get knocked and bumped, and fish can take you into trees and all sorts of things happen. So I've just got a really old cheap handle, and obviously I've put some foam on there so it floats if we have a disaster. So yeah, that's pretty much what I bring to France with me. Another really essential piece of kit. A lot of people are talking about these at the moment. That's the Thermocell with the little tablets. That's not the actual Thermocell tablets there. I've run out of Thermocell ones. They're the cheaper ones, but they seem to do the job. It's mosquito repellent. You put it on a gas canister, switch it on, it warms this pad up, and yeah, it doesn't actually smell offensive, but it really does work, because this year, by all accounts, has been a horrific year for mosquitoes. So there you go. That is my tour of the swim. So from time to time, I do get asked what changes I make to my setup when I'm out here fishing in France. And honestly, in reality, most of the lakes out here, or most of the commercial lakes out here, you don't have to change anything. You know, there's no weed, there's no snags, and you can just carry on fishing as you would do in the UK. Maybe fish a slightly bigger hook. Maybe if you're a size 6 user, go up to a size 4. But other than that, you don't really have to change anything. Now, fishing a lake like this, and this is the type of lakes that I've been fishing for, you know, a number of years now. There's certain things that I do, it's not drastic, but there's certain things that I do that just raises my chances of landing the fish. There's some really thick weed beds out here, like there is on a lot of the lakes in this area, and the fish will kite into them like you saw yesterday. So there's certain things I'm going to do to my setup to give me a better chance to land them fish. So you may have noticed that there is an inflatable boat in my swim. Now, not all lakes allow you to use them. This one does, and I think that changes how I'm going to approach my fishing drastically. The main thing is I don't have to cast, I can run my baits out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my main line. So in the UK, I use usually a 0.34 line, something like that. That gives me really good casting distances, but I don't need to worry about that here. So I'm going to up my main line. I'm going to go for the 0.40, the 20-pound mono from Trakker.
probably done about 5 or 6 trips with this. I've never even come close to busting it, and I've been in some right battles out here, let me tell you. So this is the first thing I'm going to do, up my main line. It gives me a massive advantage on landing the fish. So as well as upping my main line, I always up my leader as well. Now this is a 2.5 metre leader. Now I'll tell you why it's 2.5 metres in a bit. Now this is the 30-pound fluoro length, so this is 0.5 or 0.5 millimetre if you like. So that is a really strong leader, but also it's fluoro, so it's invisible to the fish, so that's going to sit down on the lake bed really well. The reason it's 2.5 metres is, as you saw yesterday, when I was out in the boat playing that fish, I got on top of the fish. Now that fish came up just using the rod, so that's fine. Sometimes if they go really deep into them weed beds, you ain't gonna pull them up by just pulling on the rod. What you need to do is literally grab, it's a bit brutal, but it is the only way to get them out. Pretty much grab this and lift it up. So what I'm doing is I'm going to get over the top of the weed bed and I'm going to go with the rod as far as I can. And what I'm going to see is that leader knot. When I see that leader knot, I know I can get hold of the leader. So I'm not pulling on the main line, I'm pulling on the strongest part of the setup, which is the leader. Literally wrap it around my hand and I'm just going to hold it and just hold that tension. And slowly but surely, the whole thing comes up, and if you haven't done it before, you'll see like a ball of weed like that, and the fish is just underneath it. There is no way on this planet you are getting that up by from the bank or even from a boat, just pulling it up with a rod. You've literally got it. It's a bit brutal, but it's the only way you're going to get them out. When you pull that leader up, you're faced with a massive ball of weed, and it's just a question of busting it up, taking bits off it, and it gets smaller and smaller, and eventually the fish will start to go. Then it's quick action stations onto the rod. Now, if I'm going to do that with a weak line, there's no way I'm going to do that, so that's exactly why I'm using this stuff. Now, I'm going to say about 15 or 16 years I've been doing that, something like that, and I've found that this is the best way to do it. I haven't found a system that does it any better than this. My hook to land ratio out here is pretty good, I think, and it is down to that. I'm absolutely convinced of that. So also on that leader, I add some of our hook link clingers. Now, as the name suggests, these are designed to pin down your hook link, but there's no reason why you can't use them on your leader. So I thread 3 of them on and I slide them. There's one there, one a little bit further up, just to make sure that leader sits on the deck. I'm fishing it lead clip style. That's one of our fused lead clips. I don't know what else you would want a lead clip to do. It kind of covers everything perfectly for me. And I've used the same hook link material as what I've used on my leader, which is the fluorocarbon. And onto the hook, I've kind of done a fair bit of research out here on hooks and hooks patterns. A size 4 wide gape for me pretty much covers everything. I've had some right scraps. I shouldn't say it, but I've never opened one out. They've been absolutely bulletproof for me then. So this is kind of like all done for me before I get here. I've used this setup for years and years and years out here, and I've got some fish out of situations that it probably shouldn't have got them out of, proper deep weed beds, full of mussels, full of problems, and I've managed to get them out. So I'm really confident in this setup. It's all prepared before I come out here. All my leaders are done, all my hook links are done, everything's ready, so I'm not sat in the heat doing all this, tying it all up. It's all prepared, all ready, so yeah, I'm good to go. This is a setup that I'm really confident with. So the same thought process with my main line. I've upped my main line because I don't need to worry about casting. I've done the same with my leads. In the UK I use 3.5, sometimes a 4-ounce lead if I'm fishing really long. I'm using a 5-ounce lead there, and what that's going to do for me is when the fish pick me up, or hopefully the fish picks me up, comes onto that lead, it's got 5 ounces drawing that hook point home, and that in conjunction with a heavier bobbin than what I would normally use should give me an indication. As soon as that fish picks me up, I should get some indication here, because we're fishing quite long out here and there's weed on the line on the way out to it, so I want that heavy bobbin and a heavy lead, so I get indication straight away and I can set the hook. Yeah, that's the plan. Well, the sun's just dropping behind them trees over there, and that was a grueler today. That was a really, really hot day. There was just no getting out of it. In your bivvy, it was like an oven, and just, yeah, everybody around the lake's just like, oh, I want the day to end. Just been up to the showers, and there's a queue for a cold shower, and I've just had a cold shower. Even though I've just had I'm literally 2 minutes of being out, your body temperature goes up again. It's just, yeah, it's been a grueler, and sometimes out here in August, that's what it can be like. So I don't think anything happened fishing-wise last night or today. I think maybe one of the guys in the corner lost one, and I think somebody had one out of 4, but it's just been a day of nothingness. You're just sad, really, because you're just waiting for the day to end, but, there's nothing you can do in that heat. It's just been one of them. So I think Wednesday is where we're going to see a change in the fishing. Everybody's struggling. I think there's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 fish out since we got here. And it's got a decent head of fish in it as this lake, so yeah. I think that's when we're going to see the change. But the rods are in the pond. I've redone all the rods, made sure everything was all set up correctly. And you never know, we might get a couple tonight. We'll see. So I think for now, I'm going to zip the mozzie door up on the bivvy, get myself in there and get the fans on and get cooled off. So I'm just drifting the boat down this right-hand margin because I've heard 1 or 2 in here today, and I'm just going to have a bit of a see what, make sure it's clear before I do anything. That's lovely and clear, is that? Perfect. What I'll do is once I've got this spot, I'll mark my line and I can cast this rod in here without having to disturb anything. But I have to do this because if I didn't, I wouldn't know what I was presenting over. But that looks pretty good to me. Big old bag on. Just a little sprinkling a bit around the area. Mixture of pellet and boilie. That's enough, just enough for a bite, just to get them down here. There we go. Definitely 1 or 2 down there because I've heard 2 or 3 this morning. It's the first time I've heard them in there, but breeze is pushing in there now, so we might be able to sneak one out of there.
Doing well, mate.
Looking good. Exquisite.
Thank you very much. So with my Merry Fishmas.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Where's Winnie? Winnie.
Ready to eat my...
Are you having some chicken?
Blade.
This is to Blade.
40 pounds.
You're right, mate.
The final night, and I've bagged one on this
right-hander. Did actually hear one or two there down that side of the lake earlier on. Well, it seems typical that the morning we're going to be leaving the lake, one or two fish have actually moved into my swim. I had a couple down to the right hand side, and this is the rod that I sneaked in down that right hand margin. Yeah, we've had a bite. Proper angry commons. And yeah, just goes to show this is a relatively new lake, is Pegasus, so the fish haven't seen that much pressure, but certainly know to switch off, don't they? Because for 3 or 4 days, none of us were doing any good. Now, I did hear alarm to my right hand side as I was playing this one, so I think the boys in swim 1 have had one, so certainly telling me that the fish have moved onto this, steady on, onto this side of the lake. So yeah, we'll take it. Who knows, we might get lucky before we set off. I'm going to drop him down because he's not very happy about the situation. Well, there she is. Possibly my last Pegasus fish of the year. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll nick another one this morning. We'll see. So welcome to Domaine de Depress. It's been a bit of a long day, all things considered. You know, obviously we had to pack camp down at Pegasus and make the drive up here. It was about 2.5 hours, so we're just north of Paris now. Yeah, really nice complex. I think there's 3 lakes. We're on the big one. I would say it's about 15, 16 acres, something like that. There's 10 swims on it. Yeah, so far so good. We've seen a few fish as well, seen a few fish on both sides of the swim. So I'm fishing like on the narrow canal section of where there's so basically there's an island at 80 yards and I've got all the water from the island, so to speak. The rest of the lake is full, all the swims are taken because it is like the French holidays at the moment. So there's a lot of French anglers here. I don't know if I'm the only English person on site, I'm not sure. We haven't had a look at the other lakes yet, but we're here, we've got camp set up, gonna have a barbecue, have a couple of beers, have a chill out and get our heads down and just, if nothing happens through the night, obviously we'll get up at first light, have a look at the water and make some adjustments to where we've been fishing. So all I've done is I've gone out in the boat with the prodding stick, had a bit of a feel around. There's some big patches of weed, but where you're not in weed, it's a mint bottom. It's like bits of gravel, bits of some very soft stuff. So I've done my usual, prod around, find a nice spot, drop a rig on it, bit over the top. You know, at this stage, I don't know anything about how the lake, you know, what tactics they use on this lake. The guy when we signed in, we saw the bailiff when we came through, he did say it was a particle water. I rarely use particles. I've got boilies in the van, so I'm going to stick with my boilie approach and see what happens. And if I feel like I'm at a disadvantage with that, he sells maize in the shop anyway, so we can soon sort that out. But for now, we're going to get some food, have a couple of beers, chill out, and enjoy the sunset.
We have ourselves a pin press fish on. Now, I don't think this is a grass carp. Certainly didn't feel like a grass carp. Just keep him up out of that weed. That centre channel is full of thick weed. I want to keep him up. That's the plan. Very delicately do this without touching my other. No, no, no. Come on, mate. There you go. There you go. Well, I have to say, it's not been the easiest trip for me, this one. For reasons that you've seen. I felt like I've earned this fish. And although he's only a small one, he's an absolute stunner. He's like almost a fully scaled on one side. And like a broken linear on the other side. It's an absolutely stunning fish. Look at that. Yeah, that's a bite out of this swim 7, because the bailiff's coming to see us tomorrow about moving, and now I'm thinking, have 1 or 2 moved into the swim? I'm not sure, because it's about 6:30 this morning. This rod went off literally on first light. I'm gonna sit at the front of the swim, watch the water for a couple of hours and see if we can assess if things have changed. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy catching this. Gorgeous carp, £24, but the cliche says it doesn't matter how much they weigh when they look like that, and I think that's true, because he is a little stunner. And there you go. There's the other side of him. What a gorgeous fish. Okay, so the bailiff's been down to see us this morning and given us our options. He's given us a swim on the medium lake, but that lake does have a lot of grass carp in it, so that wasn't very appealing, although there are some really nice carp in it as well. He's given us swim 6 and swim 5 on this lake, on the big lake. Or he's kind of like throwing a curveball in the small lake, which is, as I get, is more a runs water. There's a swim available on there called Pallets. Now I've had a cycle round to there, and there is fish in that swim, but I kind of feel that, you know, I've come to France for a big one, and the big ones are in here, although it will be a bit of an ask because it hasn't done many fish since we've been here. I've only seen 2 or 3 carp caught, plus the one that I had this morning. But 5 and 6 haven't been fished for a couple of days. There's been no lines going out there. I went down there about half an hour ago and there is a little bit of fizzing. The only problem is it is very weedy down there, so I can't just flick a bait on them. I have to find spots with the marker pole, which is obviously going to disturb the water. So I'm in a bit of a, what do? Do we go up there, catch a few? Or do we stick out on here, move down a swim? That'll give me 6 and 5's water, because he says you can put a rod in 5. There's nobody booked on there either. And stick it out for a better fish. So I think the decision has been made. We're going to stay on here. We're going to try and get a big one. Yeah, I think that's the right decision. You know, there is nice fish in that small lake, but chances are you're going to be catching upper 20s, low 30s as an average fish. Or maybe a little bit smaller. But in here, there's a 70 pounder. So I don't get the opportunity to fish for a 70 pounder very often. So I've just made my decision. We're staying on here. We're moving into 6. Let's see if we can nick a decent fish. We've got 2 nights left and then we have to get off. So we're going to get all this lot packed down, bomb it down the track, get set up in 6, go to the supermarket, get some bits and bobs to see us out for the week, and then it's game on. As my mate Chris, who was on Pegasus, would say, I'm getting my game head on. We'll see what happens. Okay, so just going out to do the middle rod, and exactly the same as before. I don't want to make a disturbance now. from 7. I've just spooked a fish. You see that? That's just spooked a fish. Now that's probably a grassy. He moved a bit of water, he did. That's probably a grassy. That's why I'm trying to be as quiet as I can. Right, that's weed. That's no good. So as I'm prodding this stick in here, it's just weed everywhere. Just impossible to present on it, but every now and again you'll find a little bit that's a little bit firmer. This is actually gravel, but it has got weed. Right, that is the spot there. That is the spot there. That is mega. Underneath the middle rod and park the boat. That was a mission, putting them rods out, must admit. So to the left hand side of the swim, this morning when we came in here, we've seen quite a few fish in there. We thought, right, I'll put 2 rods there and then I'll put 1 rod to the right hand side, pretty much where I caught that fish from last night. But I've gone out there in the boat to try and find some spots, and it is choked with weed, absolutely. You can feel a good bottom, but your prodding stick's hitting weed before it gets to it, and every time you drop a lead in it, you're just pulling up a big clump of weed, and it's really strong as well. So I am kind of thinking, even if I do get a bite, it's going to be a bit of an effort. But I found 1 spot, so I put a marker on that, dropped some bait on there, and then the other 2 have kind of like gone to the area where I caught from last night, because I just can't find another spot, and I don't want to spend too long in the boat out there because I'm just disturbing the water. So I'm kind of happy with what I've got. There's probably 1 rod that I wouldn't be happy with. I'd want it kind of central in the weedy zone, but if there isn't a spot in there, there isn't a spot in there. Or if there is, I can't spend like all evening prodding around trying to find it. So as the train goes past. So anyway, we are out for our penultimate night. Rods are out there. I am praying to the carp gods that my luck turns. That's about all I can say. It's been a tough one, I must admit, but we're out, we're in the water, we've got some bait around the spot, so, and there is fish here, so it's looking a little bit brighter. So the morning's kind of drifted away from us at Depress, moving into our last night. Yeah, there's fish about. I did have a bite last night. The right hand rod onto the island spot was actually in swim 7's water, but it's where I had the fish from swim 7. So that one went again, but again a small fish. When the rod went off, I thought, here we go. And then pretty much soon into playing the fish, I thought, nah. So yeah, last night I got up early, I watched the water, did see a few fish. I mean, I had a few fish in this swim last night and they were big fish. It's just just not feeding. The bailiff came round and said that nobody had a bite last night, so I was the only person to have a bite. So I suppose that is a positive. The guy did lose one in swim 4, I think, but the boys at the bottom end and the Belgium guy in swim 2 didn't get a bite. So I have seen some fish out there this morning as well, so I've put a rod on there. This rod can stay on the island because that's now done 2 bites. And yeah, it's just fingers crossed that we can end the trip on a big fish. If I'm honest, it's unlikely. I'm not catching consistently enough. I'm only having a bite a night, and you know, you have to get 3 or 4, I'm guessing, in this lake to get one of the better ones. But the rods are in the pond, and if the rods are in the pond, you always stand a chance. So I'm gonna just watch the water for the rest of the afternoon and just make sure I am happy with the areas that I'm fishing. Not a lot of activity somewhere else. I think, yeah, I need a rod on that. So I'll do that this afternoon. I'll redo the rods after tea, and then we'll go into the last night. Just hoping. That's about all I can do. That rod I put tight to the island has just melted. So because I know how much weed is in between me and the fish, I figured I'd get straight in the boat. Now let's just hope that this is the fish we've been waiting for. That would be really nice, but I know how much weed I've got to contend with, so I'm just going to put the motor on and get down there a little bit quicker. I just saw a fish roll down here out the corner of my eye, really tight to the islands. Now I haven't been fishing it because it's in swan territory, if I'm honest. It's only 4 foot, so I've kind of avoided fishing there, but I thought during the day I can put one on it. And yeah, obviously we've picked a fish up off it. Now I just hope it isn't in a monster weed bed, because I do fear how difficult it's going to be getting these fish out the weed, but we will see. And then we also have to consider, is it a grass carp? So there's a lot of if, buts and maybes. Oh mate, do not go in that weed. Stay out the weed. Stay out that weed. Come on, come up, 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 come up. These are better fish, yeah, 100%. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. Here's a better one. No, he's not ready. No, he's not ready yet. He's a banger. He's a banger. He's a banger. Ah, oh, yes. He ain't huge, but I feel like I've really earned this fish. Oh, oh, the relief. Well, I put that rod tight to the island in front of 7 that I didn't see a fish on while I was fishing 7, and ironically they've moved into that spot. And as you can see, the heavens opened, it was chucking it down with rain, and that rod has screamed off. Now, not a massive fish, just short of 29 pound, but a real stunning carp, my biggest fish of the trip, or biggest fish from Depress, and it's going to be awkward getting the rods done in this rain. I'll certainly film in what I'm doing, but maybe this has switched them on. You know, everybody on the lake's been saying it's been fishing quiet, and maybe this bit of rain is going to turn them on, and that French banger is going to happen for me. Who knows? But yeah, epic battle keeping him out the weed, because I'm really conscious of that weed, because I know how thick it is. It's proper bad, and if he dives into that, then it's going to be a difficult one. So fortunately I managed to keep him out that weed, and yeah, absolutely mega. And away. Yeah, it's still fizzing. You probably won't be able to see that with a GoPro, but it's still fizzing. That spot is still fizzing. Bingo. There was a decent group of fish here. When I brought the boat over here earlier, it was just cloudy as hell, and I just stopped the boat in its tracks and thought, there's a bunch of them here. So, yeah. I'm into my reserve leads, because packed away in the van out the rain is my lead bag, so I've got one of my get me out of jail free leads that I've got in the side of the van. So anyway, it'll still catch fish. It's an heavy weight, that's all it's there to do. Just form that rig up. Right, just drift him into that spot now. Drop him in there, rig past the lead, draw it back this way. There we go, boom. Landed with a nice thump. Lovely clear spot. And this is the unavoidable bit. We have to put a little bit of bait on the area. Just wait for that foam to pop up. Put one right on top of the foam. We're going to a hotel tomorrow for a few days in a city called Rouen, which is lovely. I'll be glad of a nice shower and some dry clothes, but for now we're still in carp mode. Right, so you don't know whether you can see that, but the foam's just popped up. Just banged a scoop right on top of it, get them feeding right on the spot. Just row gently to get me out of the zone, and then once we get out of the zone, we'll bang the motor on, get back to base, get dried off. But yeah, result. I really wanted a fish today, and we've had one. So I'm pretty confident tonight that my luck's going to turn. I think we're going to get a bite tonight. I'll be amazed if we don't get a bite tonight. This rod will go. I might put another one to the left of it down here. Have two rods in there, because if they're in here, which they are, I mean the water's chocolate. Yeah, I might put two down here, we'll see. Right, so the rain has stopped about 10 minutes ago, and we were just starting to get some tea on, and right hander on that shallow shelf off this island has decided to burst into life. It's amazing how many bites you get at the end of a rainstorm, because it did come down pretty heavy. It's amazing, isn't it? Almost as though it suddenly switches them on. I've seen a fish crash out in the middle of the swim, and I'm getting liners on one of the other rods, and I hope that rod don't go, because then we will be in a fix. We'll see. Right, that's the thing. I need to get this line off this weed off the line, because if that jams through the top height, that's not a good situation to be in. Come on, get the boat straight, Vin. There you go. Nice one, get off. Before they go for the, oh yeah, he's a powerful fish. I don't think he's one of the little ones. So I'm doing the same with this fish as what I did with the fish that I had earlier. I'm not allowing him to get into that weed. I'm keeping him up. So I'm keeping as much pressure on as I can. I know I've got like 2 meters before it's panic stations, because I know I keep saying it, but this weed is proper strong, and if a big fish gets wound up in it, then that is not good, because it'll be hard to get it out, because we're on barbless hooks here as well. Now, I had a bit of a glimpse at him a minute ago and he looked all right. Yeah, he's not a 17 pounder, that's for sure. So I'm just keeping steady pressure, but I've got my clutch set just in case he has a big dive like that. Oh no, he's come off. He's come off. He's come off. What's going on here? I've picked up somebody else's line and the fish has come off. Unbelievable. That was a good fish as well. That's what happened when you leave bloody line in a lake. Well, there's nothing I can do about it, is there? It's happened. Got all this in the boat. I'll sort it out when we get back to base. Right, that was a good fish, and that's not my fault. My fault I can deal with. Somebody else's fault me off. Obviously, a group of fish moved into the island in front of Seven. Just drifting the boat down just to see if anything was happening. I just seen all this cloud. I thought, oh, God, they're in here. And that's the first time since we've been on the lake that they've actually got in that area. So I dropped a rig just off the clouded area, dropped a little bit of bait in, and that rod went, and I had a really nice upper 20. I thought, oh, this could be the start of something, and obviously put the rod straight back out on that spot. But an hour later it went again, and yeah, like in between the bank and the island, so it's like I said before, it's like a bowl. So the first maybe 3 wraps, something like that, 4 wraps is pretty clear, and then it goes into the deeper area, which is just really thick, dense weed, like horrible, strong weed. And then as it comes back up, it does like the same on the other side. So I hit the fish, and then I got the boat straight in the water and tried to get to that shallower area where there's less weed. And I got him up, and he's out the weed, and he's just cruising around, and I thought, bingo, we're in. You know, really confident in them wide gape hooks. Fished out here a lot with them, just keeping it out the weed, basically, doing what I should be doing, and then disaster struck. Somebody's had a cut off of some description, but there's like a probably 80, 90 yards of line, because I ended up winding it all back in. So what's happened is the fish I've hooked has gone through that line, and of course I'm pulling the fish up, the line's travelled down my leader and just gone to the hook, and it's just pulling the hook at the opposite angle that I'm pulling it at, and it's just popped the hook, and that was on the end of it. So whether they've had a pike cut off or they've cut off at the reel, I don't know how you lose that much line, or there was fishing really, really long, I don't know. I'll never know, but I saw the fish, and that's the gutting thing. It's very difficult when you see a fish in the water to kind of put a weight on it. I would say in excess of 35 pound, possibly bigger. Very difficult to say. It's certainly the biggest fish I've hooked here, possibly the biggest fish I've hooked of the holiday. But we will never know. So gutted. But I kind of brushed myself down and thought, look, you know, I'm catching now. We've kind of got a bit of a pattern here, so reset all the rods on areas that I feel I've got the best chance of getting a bite. Might finish well, or we might just be reflecting on that lost fish. But that situation, absolutely nothing I could do about it. I was never to know that that line was there, and I've just seen one. Let's hope they come down this island again and this rod does something again. I've just seen one at the back of the island, at the right range, but the far end of the island. We'll see. We'll see what today does. Right, I'm not sure if this is a carp. I think this is a tench or grass carp. I'm not sure. We have got a fish on. Just have to be so careful if it dives. This amount of tension on. I'm gonna have to get hold of this leader, I think. I think the fish is still on. Come on, get up. Get up. No, don't go down. Don't go down. He's gone back down. Such a big ball of weed, it's just breaking it off. Break the weed off the line. I've got a funny feeling that this is a frigging grassy. It's a frigging grassy. These go from bad to worse, don't they? I can't even get him in the bloody net, is that long? Oh well, here's what it is. Not for me. No, not for me at all. But I suppose it's a bite. But we'll get him back. I don't know what to say. This trip has been a bit of a mad one. So camp is nearly packed down. Just got the rods and the boat out. That fairy tale ending that I wanted, it doesn't look like it's going to happen now. I suppose that is carp fishing, isn't it? You know, if you come out here and catch the big ones every time you come out here, it wouldn't be, them moments wouldn't be as special as what they are. You know, I've had some amazing moments out here in France, and looks like this one's not going to, fishing wise, going to be the one. Obviously Pegasus, as you probably saw, it was more of a social. You know, we had friends with us, and we had a mega time down there, to be fair. We caught a couple of fish. Normally Pegasus fishes a lot better than that. It was just one of them one-offs, bad periods. But we come here and I really, really like this place. In fact, I want to come back here. I really like it. And first couple of days was a struggle, but everybody in the lake was struggling, and you think, oh, well, you know, they'll switch on. You know, we've moved into here and the fish moved into the swim that I was in, but fortunately, either side of me, nobody's fishing here now. It was really busy at the weekend, but nobody's fishing now, and I managed to get that rod out there and catch a couple. I'm absolutely devastated about losing that fish. You know, without question, it was the biggest fish of the trip, but we'll never know how big because I didn't properly see it, but I saw enough of it. Just swam through somebody else's line. What can I do? I can't do anything about that. It's just one of the percentages you can't control in carp fishing. Sometimes your name's on them, sometimes your name's not on them. And then the rod went off this morning and I thought, here we go. And it's grass carp. So, well, I suppose if you equate it back to England, you know, if you go to Linear, Bluebell, Farlows, you've got big fish in front of you, but you don't catch them every time you go. And France is no different. You have to just accept it. We've had a mega time. It's been a pretty emotional trip. There's been some high points, low points, and everything that a France trip should be, apart from a big clunking carp. But we'll come back again next year, and hopefully a bit of luck swings in my favour. So I'm going to sign off, get the last few bits in the van, and we're going up to Rouen for a few days in a hotel, which my wife is so much looking forward to. We're going to treat ourselves, have some nice meals out, go to the cathedral, see the light show, and then make our way back up to the ferry crossing. So hope you've enjoyed the film. It's been a bit of a laugh, hasn't it, along the way? Yeah, I'll get the rest of this gear packed up and sign off.